yes, your lot size definitely takes a toll depending on what pair you're trading, cryptos, exotics, etc. The spread, understand this, the beauty of Forex, because Curve, you used to trade stocks, the beauty of Forex is leverage, right? So when we leverage, and Hugo, for example, every $1 you put in the market, you're putting in 500 units of that. So it's being multiplied, put a different way. So if it's already being multiplied and then the spread is high, it's really being multiplied. That's how you can see things like $1 become $100. Leverage can be your friend, and leverage can hurt you when you don't understand it. And basically, what happens is we're being multiplied in the market, and so if the spread is huge, the brokers create the spread. It's just a way to weed out people that essentially that don't know what they're doing. The spread will take you out. That's a broker in a Forex market thing that they have that hurts us basically. The spread is never your friend. That's just how it goes, especially on the higher expensive pairs. And someone asked me about the time frame thing. So you mark whatever you want, but I typically mark the 1 hour or 4 hour or both for support and resistance. Then I work my way down, as you see here. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. As you see here, I work my way down on the other time frames to see what the candles are doing according to my support and resistance. And ICE does this really, really well. He catches the momentum as the next candle forms. If it's green, he would jump in his buy because he knows that this is a floor. And then he would just slam and stack multiple entries. For those of you that don't know who that is, just know that this dude made 175K in a single day because he understood support and resistance and candle momentum. Okay? So play all of those things that you learn into key. Now, notice the lagging line here is underneath the cloud. Because the lagging line is underneath the cloud, it may not be wise to take a buy signal unless it passes the market at least. I'd like to say what you want to see out of the lagging line is you want it to pass through your lines of defense. John, what's lines of defense? That's your T consent and Keynesian, your TK lines here. The orange is mine and the blue. I want to see the lagging line break through that at least. Because if it doesn't, there's no trend change. But when it breaks through your entire line of defense, always backtest stuff, right? When it breaks through both lines of defense, as it did back here, see this? As it did back here, it broke through all lines of defense, the cloud, my TK lines, etc. And that was a impulse move to the downside, and that's what happened. Okay? So very important to catch the right things. You can either grab it when it crosses your lines of defense, but more importantly, your TK lines are huge. Now, how do I work these time frames? Support and resistance on the 4 hour or the 1 hour or both. And then you work your way down on the 30-minute, down to the 15, down to the 1, and then you enter the trade. Now, if you're trading on your phone, you can still use TradingView and know that the TradingView and MetaTrader 4 will be slightly off. Nothing is on exact time of the market. Everything is behind the split second due to the market makers, the market movers, the banks, the hedge funds, the government, etc. So know that it's okay. The move is still coming. You just either are right ahead of it or you're just delayed. So don't fret on that. Now, if you're trading 100% from MetaTrader 4, you do the same thing. You work your way down the time frames. Eventually, you can remove those steps as to seeing all time frames. You can skip from the 1 hour down to the 15. It's not a big difference. Just notice what you're looking for. Know what you're looking for, I mean. And if you know what you're looking for, you'll understand that this is a floor and now it's rejecting the floor. I can drop from the 15 to the 5 and see that it's moving away from the floor. And then you want to see that on a 1 minute. And, on the 1 minute, it left the floor a long time ago. Yeah, we missed some of the impulse move. Now it's wanting to Consolidate. This is consolidation. That's my French voice. So just slow down to speed up. And sometimes slap your hand to break your mindset and remind yourself how simple this is. This should not be that confusing. Some of you, you've been doing this so long and you're still confused. That means you haven't watched enough IML TV. You haven't slowed down to speed up. You haven't really demoed enough to learn from what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Cool? So, am I making sure the 1 hour and 30-minute example, and it's about the cloud bounty. You won't necessarily see, that's a good question, Lawrence. You won't necessarily see the same thing on all time frames. You won't. But you want to get at least 2 of them equal. You want 2 of them to be telling you the same story. Otherwise, you can't believe the rumor. So make sure you understand that you don't have to have. Now, obviously, if I have three time frames that's showing me nothing but red cloud, then obviously that's just more confirmation. But I'm also saying that doesn't mean you can't take this trade or whatever based on, well, I don't see it on enough time frames. I'm just saying make sure you don't see one thing on one time frame and assume that it's safe to take, unless you know what you're doing. Now, I know enough, for example, I can trade flat out off of the 1 minute. And I can stare down this green cloud and know that I can get in the sell here. And I can play it all the way to my K-line. K-line, not K9. The blue, I can play it all the way to here. And I've gotten comfortable enough. If you're not that comfortable, don't be messing around.com on the 1 minute. But you see, I can grab 50 pips in 10 minutes. 60 really. So yeah, I'll play on the 1 minute and I'll stay there. So I'm able to trade from one time frame, but I don't want you to learn that way because I didn't learn that way. I just got confident and I was able to stay on a single time frame. But in the beginning phases, pay attention to the TK line crossing, pay attention to the lagging line, pay attention to time frames and what is the cloud doing. And that will help you understand what in the world's going on. You can move and put in support resistance on any time frame. So don't feel like, well, I did it on the 1 hour and now I got to wait all day. You don't have to do all that. You can put it anywhere. Just know what you're doing. Simplify it. I'll literally play with the idea that this area is important and the cloud is green. So put it a different way. I'm going to sit here. Notice the lagging line is still above the cloud. Even on the 1 minute, you can watch it. It just moves like crazy. Look at it dancing. Salsa moves. Maybe you just need to stand and dance with the market. But as you can see, it's creating some momentum. If I get to this line, if it gets to this line here, and all of a sudden I see 2 green candles play around, then I'm going to be extremely confident. You see, it had sell momentum, and now the TK lines are about to cross. Every time they cross, expect a change in direction. Just because they cross above or below and all of that stuff, that's not enough to go by. If you just base it off of a cross and then you take a trade, you're going to be really sick to your stomach because someone will take this cross as, well, the cloud is green. Now it's time for the sell. Well, I don't see a sell based on this line. I don't see a sell coming. I see this, and I need to see that line do something else. So I'm going to pay close attention to what it's going to do when it gets to this pink line. So hopefully that makes sense with the time frame thing as you're walking your way down these time frames and going from there. But yes, I have standard settings on the cloud. I didn't change anything. I am fully aware that Dr. K and some other people might use other settings, and whatever works for her, works for her. I've never changed my settings. I tried hers for a couple of weeks, and it threw me off personally. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. I'm just sharing with you that it didn't work for me. So my settings are left alone because I don't know why she chose the numbers that she chose. And since I can't understand that, I'm not changing mine. If there's a reason for those numbers and there's some confirmation as to why the 6 and the 13 and the 26 are the best numbers, then awesome. She also has her own chart system, and I don't. So perhaps it works more clear for what she is using. But for me, this is what I use. I don't change the settings on the cloud. I leave them alone. All I do is change the colors. Now, with that being said, do you have any further questions? Because if not,